Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, StarCraft 2 fans. Welcome to another Alpha X Pro Replay Cast, bringing you the best games of yesterday, today. Today we delve into the OlimoLeague number 223 to bring you these two champions. So without further ado, let's introduce them spawning down here in the bottom left corner of Pillars of Gold for the Shopify Rebellion. He is BYUN. And his opponent up here in the top, he's representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Give it up for ZEST. And this is going to be an awesome match between these two. I feel like recently PvT has become such a fun match to watch, especially when we're talking about such an aggressive Terran like BYUN. Just these small engagements all over the place, vying for that control of the map, and especially against someone like ZEST, who kind of says that the best defense is a good offense. You know, he will have stalkers out around patrolling the map, trying to catch you if you decide to go for a 3-racks or a stim timing. He will be transitioning very quickly. His Stargate control, super fantastic, so he can get a lot of damage done with the oracles. And right now we do see that kind of aggression coming on in as he has dropped the pylon. Now the big question is, has BYUN seen this just yet? Basically, the answer is maybe, because what he sees right now is he's only seen one pylon. At this stage in the game, if you only have one pylon, you are going to be completely supply blocked as the Protoss player. So recognizing that, we're going to see this SCV potentially go for a bit of a walk around the map. We'll have to see what he decides to do with that, as he did go for the Marine first, meaning that he does not have the Reaper to kind of give him a little bit more vision out on the map. So far the answer is it looks like he's just gonna bunker on down. I guess he did see the probe heading back home, so that is a pretty big tell for what is coming his way. So far, it's looking like it's just gonna be a standard 3-gate pressure here. Now, the thing about 3 gates is it's not necessarily impossible to go up to a third base to start that transition. You just have to be careful not to overextend and let the Terran player hit that critical mass of units. Right now, what we do see is a tank should be started here on the high ground. And I think, honestly, BYUN might lose some SCVs to this, but as long as he keeps an eye on that main ramp, he should be okay. Now 5 Adepts are going to be blasting their way forward here, right past the bunker. BYUN is paying attention, so he will not let them get into the main base. The SCVs are already pulled, keeping a couple of the Marines at the front to prevent reinforcements, forcing him to shade forward. But now this is a little bit of a tricky situation for BYUN. While he does have that siege tank, you can kind of see ZEST just decides to blink right on top of it. And that is pretty much a dead siege tank unless the SCVs decide to repair. Will he save it? The answer is, oh my gosh, he actually saves the siege tank. Now that is so bad for ZEST. You know, like I said, you can transition out of it, but at the same time, now BYUN has a really deadly army, and the wall is complete, so these Adepts are not going to get anything else done. Warping those in as well means there's going to be less warp-ins at home. There's not going to be any shield batteries, it looks like. Or if there is, you know, there's no units to use them on. I think here ZEST is going to be forced to recall as that random Adept just kind of going to his doom there. And now BYUN gets the tap out. up here in the top position of Jaganantha. Give it up for BYUN. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he is ZEST. So we do see that probe coming across. Hopefully for him, that's just a scouting one. I don't like, even though this is a good proxy map, I feel I don't think you're really going to get too much done with this, because now BYUN is going to be on guard throughout this series. Right now we do see that ZEST not really mining too much gas, so that does tell me that he will be expanding here relatively soon. Looks like he will go for the cybernetics core first, however, just to make sure that he can tech up efficiently. It's not really that much of a delay on your Nexus either to get the cybernetics core first. It just kind of making, you know, it's just kind of a little bit safer. Now, we do see he's going to try and deny the natural of BYUN for just a little bit longer. But did he go for... Okay. He went for a zealot, but then canceled it. I was wondering what was going on there. So now the big question is, what's the tech tree choice? Last game, it was Twilight Council, but there is a good opportunity for, say, Robo play, for Stargate play. Looks like the choice is going to be that Robo facility being dropped on down. And I'm kind of curious where he's going to go with that. Maybe a quick tech up into Colossus, go for Colossus drops. I think that would be a good choice, because BYUN is going for the 3cc. A very greedy opening here, as he doesn't really have a lot of production. So that does mean that he's going to be very open, very susceptible to attacks for a few minutes at the very least. Get an observer, and I guess Blink technically is on the table, but without the additional gateways, without the Twilight Council going down, there's just no way. It's just a quick tech up here. And I'm very curious, does he go for a warp prism behind this? He does indeed. So whether it is Colossus or Disruptors, there will be drop play all over the map. But the question is, will he hit in time is the big thing, because now BYUN has those 3 racks beginning to start producing. So he will have quite a few units at his disposal. Stim will be starting here very, very shortly. There it is. And with that, I mean, you're kind of on a big timer here as ZEST. Factory coming down as well. Looks like he is scouting. He sees the observer. Never try and put an observer near BYUN. He will spot it instantly. And now we do have the Warp Prism speed upgrade coming on in. BYUN going to be moving across the map with this small smattering of units. And honestly, I'm a little bit worried about this, because he is leaving himself very open back at home. It's currently 19 to 18 in terms of that unit count. So a big chunk of his army supply is here. He's going to have to throw down a lot of Marauders back at home to make this work. But you know, this is going to force the Warp Prism to come home, since the Adepts can't fight this straight up. And this does reveal it. Good micro from BYUN, going to keep a lot of these Marines alive, but there's just not enough of them to get any additional damage in. Looks like he's going to get a pretty big poke on the Colossus, though. Bringing it down to yellow health. But honestly, back at home, he has these two Marauders. He has a Viking on the way, so he should be able to kind of shut this down a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see he's just waiting for the drop in. Now keep in mind though, he does not have any sort of starport units just yet. The Vikings are going to slow down medevac production for a time, meaning that any sort of stim that he does, any sort of damage that he takes is going to be permanent until he gets more of those. A little bit interested about this. This might be a big overextension. As you can see, the shield batteries are going to be enough to save the sentry. And BYUN will be forced to retreat, so now ZEST with the supply lead. I don't want to say he has full map control, but he pretty much has a pretty good control of the map so far. So now BYUN going to be taking that third base. Oh, the War Prism now has to be very careful. You can kind of see that speed helping it out a lot. But if ZEST is not paying attention for a second, it's going to get picked off. A big gateway explosion for ZEST with the Templar Archives, with the charge. +1 is going to be on the way, while BYUN is only just now starting his armor upgrades. I gotta say, I'm liking ZEST's position more and more. Even though his early game harassment didn't really get a lot of damage done, he still kind of shut down BYUN in a way that stunted the momentum. And the thing about BYUN is that he is a very momentum-based player. Once he gains a foothold, he does everything he can to keep it, regardless of if it's a good idea or not. And by that, essentially what I mean is that if you can stop him from his parade pushing, if you can take down his position, he kind of struggles a little bit to kind of transition out of it a lot of the time. Like, his late game control is fantastic. It's just getting to that late game army that is his problem, because he likes to stick with the Marine Marauder style. But this time he will be adding on the Ghosts. He will be getting Siege Tanks to kind of deal with the units in the backfield. So, honestly, I like his position so far. Oh my god, ZEST. ZEST, you madman. Gonna go for a big Swarm Drop. He does land one of them. Loses the High Templar, though. Oh my goodness. Gonna force the recall. Only one survives. So that was a nice pickup for BYUN. 6 SCVs did go down, but there are enough mules to kind of replace them. If we take a look at that income advantage, you can kind of see when the mules drop as opposed to ZEST. So now BYUN gonna be going for a really big push. The army is a little bit divided for ZEST. He's got the Zealots going over to the left side, gonna try and do a run by to shut this down. But the Great Wall of BYUN is almost complete. A big kill on the pylon right there. And now BYUN is gonna siege up the high ground and slowly inch his way into the 4th base. Of good storms are gonna blanket a lot of this army, but there's not that much energy left. Forced to warp in Archons. If ZEST wants to do this, he's got to do it now. He's got to break this position. He's taking so much damage from the siege tank fire. One Colossus is left, not really fighting efficiently though, since it's being stuck in the Warp Prism. And while he does break ZEST here and have the army, have the supply lead, he's still behind in terms of that army. And honestly, I think BYUN is still in a fine position, you know? He didn't trade out all of his units. He still has a big army back at home. So, while he didn't get a ton, he did kind of reset that late game army count. Kind of taking a look there. Yeah, he killed off one of the Colossus, which ZEST doesn't have a lot of. He killed a couple of the High Templars, which again ZEST doesn't have a lot of. And now ZEST is going to be trying to warp in here, but there are ghosts for the EMPs. Does he have, yeah, he does have the EMP upgrade. And also going to be deflecting this Zealot run by on the other side. So here we go. Big storm going to blanket this army. Trying to bait out the storm with a couple of the Marines. We do see the High Templar going to get right on top of the mineral line. 8 workers instantly going down while a bunch of the army is fighting the Zealots on the right side. And now ZEST is a little bit out of position. He does have a recall available to him, I think. No, I don't think he does, actually. Oh, no. This might be a problem here. Huge EMP is going to blanket the Zealots. And now BYUN putting on a lot of pressure of ZEST. Looks like the main army is going to try and block off the reinforcements from joining in. The EMP is going to make those Archons a little bit more than paperweights. The Zealots, though, going to try and charge their way through. It is close, but I think ZEST will have enough to clean up this army. And GG is called. Spawning up here in the top right position. Give it up for Shopify Rebellion's BYUN. And his opponent, he's repping the Dragons, the Phoenix, and the Gamers. Give it up for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's ZEST. Okay, so BYUN has shown that he can win in the mid game, while ZEST has dominated the late game here. As we do see a pretty relatively standard opening for these two players. The only difference is we don't see the probe out just yet. Looks like he's going to be keeping that back to drop the Nexus before going across the map. And yeah, I don't really think a proxy is in the cards here because he did go for the Nexus first rather than Cybernetics Core. And so let's see what he decides to do. And BYUN, you know, he's just going to play it a little bit standard. This is kind of the new Terran norm. Skipping the Reaper because it doesn't really do a lot for you, especially not on these kind of maps where it's very easy to kind of wall off that Reaper main. Oh. There we go. Looks like he is instead going to be dropping down the gateway here, so a bit of a parting build. Question is, will BYUN see it? It looks like he's going to be scouting the regular proxy locations, so the answer is no. Not in the slightest. So with the factory coming up, BYUN is not producing any units at all. So this has the potential to do quite a lot. We do have the Warp Gate being chronoed out as well. The Adept going to be moving across. One Marine hanging out here in the top. While BYUN's going to get ready to go for Widow Mine drops. Now, he still has not seen this. He doesn't know that this Adept is about to be joined by his comrades. And it's going to be actually pretty similar to game number 1. He's got the 3rd gateway down. So the Adepts are going to be able to warp in much quicker on this side of the map. Oof, I'm a little bit worried here because BYUN is going to be sending these Widow Mines across the map relatively soon. Dropping the Tech Lab, though, I like that choice. But here we go. The Adepts do make it into the main base right on top of the Marines. SCVs are gonna have to be pulled. Already 2 have fallen and a few more will join them. The Widowmine gets Focus Fire down as well. Already, this is doing a lot of work for ZEST. Ooh, just barely fighting out of range of that Widowmine. Now trying to bait it right on top of the Marines. Oh my goodness, the problem was BYUN was not, he was not, what do you call it, producing out of these bases. So there's no new Marines for this, and while he does have healing, I don't think ZEST is really going to give him the time to do so. More Adepts. Gonna go into the main base, canceling the Shade, actually. Oh, this is fantastic for ZEST. He has fully contained BYUN, but the problem is he has not killed him yet. So now ZEST is getting the upgrades and recalling the Stalkers to defend the 3rd base that is going up. Looks like the Liberator, a couple more siege tanks, and BYUN will recover from this. But is it a little bit too late, as it's 29 workers to 45? Mules are good, but they are not that good. Blink not yet done, so the medevac will escape, though. So, small saving graces here for BYUN. Problem is, if BYUN moves out at any point, he's just gonna have to deal with the fact that there is vision absolutely everywhere. There are Stalker hit squads that are gonna be roaming the map, looking for those easy pickoffs before this fight really begins. I like the Liberator just trying to kind of pull away some of the attention from this attack. But how do you deal with this? The medevac goes down very, very quickly. And that's pretty much all you have to help keep this push going. The SCVs are pulled to help out the siege tanks. The Adepts warping in for some more damage. There's not that many Marines left as that Stalker count starts to rise. The Liberator, though, going completely unchecked. Oh my goodness. Absolute carnage all over this. The SCV's not repairing, however. So BYUN has lost this position. Oh my gosh, it's actually equal workers now. That was terrible, terrible damage for ZEST. But I'm still worried for BYUN here because he's currently down 10 army supply. And while that might not seem like a lot, it's the quality of unit that he is up against. No 3rd base is available to him either. He's pretty much all in right now. I don't think he wants to waste the minerals on a 3rd. But we do see that's going to be moving out with this army. That is a lot of gateway units. The siege tank on the low ground, the siege tank on the high ground. He's going to bait the shots. One siege tank goes down very, very quickly. Some good warpers and micro going to keep those Stalkers alive. Bottom right position of Light Shade LE. Give it up for ZEST. And his opponent in the top left on his last legs. Give him your energy. He is BYUN. Alright, so we do see ZEST going to be going for the safe, the normal Nexus expansion here. Should be throwing down the Cybernex core to complete that wall. For BYUN's side, I doubt we will see a Reaper. It's probably just going to be Marine Reactor here. One thing that BYUN has been doing a little bit recently as well is going for that 3-racks build. While I don't necessarily think that's a best option, a good, solid option, you know, it can be a bit tricky if you're not expecting it. ZEST, though, is going to go for the if it ain't broke, don't fix it method here. Going to be dropping a gateway right outside the third base. And with that, the aggression starts all over again. Once again, BYUN is just going to be missing it with these wrong scouting locations. And this is really what I worry for him. He doesn't recognize it at all. So I think from here, he just needs to stay alive. But he's going to go super tricky here. He goes straight for Hellion drops. The thing about Hellions is that they are good against Adepts in small numbers, but there will be no small number of Adepts with this. And I think, honestly, this hits a little bit quicker than the medevac, so your micro potential is not really there. The Hellions as well going to be going out. Will get the scout finally and sends them back home. So now recognizing this, he's just going to cede the high ground here. He doesn't even have a natural expansion in. So really, I'm a little bit worried here for him. Going to deny the bunker from going up. That means he's going to have to give up his ramp for a time. The Stalkers were warped in back at home. It does take 3 Hellions to one-shot the probes. So he's not really getting the damage that he wants with this. Only 3 going down. Looks like the Widowmine did get a connection on one of those Adepts. And he's okay, so he's going for Dreams build here. Getting that armory up to make sure that these mines stay completely hidden. ZEST doesn't have any detection either. He's gonna have to build cannons in his base. Ooh, that sucks though. Losing the full medevac, I think that is fully gonna be GG here, honestly. It depends on how well he can do here with this next one, but oh my goodness. That's almost a game-winning move because BYUN is investing so much into this. You can even see he's a little bit frustrated by that one. Looks like that's what's being translated right there. Here we go. Goes in, but there are way too many units for ZEST. How late that natural CC is as well. He is down such a big number of workers. Just take a look at that income advantage for ZEST. And now with Blink on the way, +1, much quicker than BYUN's. He's doing everything he can to kind of stay in this one, but trying to be that greedy with how little you have, I just do not see it working out for him. The one good thing is that he has denied a third base for ZEST for the time being. Oh, here we go. There is a cannon in position. They don't have burrowing tunneling claws, but ZEST not going to get it in time. 8 workers going to go down. Now the Stalkers are going to be looking for a little bit of poke damage. They've already gotten 3 workers here. The siege tank, they will have to retreat. They do not have Blink yet. Throughout all of this, while BYUN has attempted to kill off that gateway, it's still a very good forward position for ZEST to warp in. A good reinforcement point. So he can continuously like put on that pressure, using the medevacs as well without getting a lot of damage in. This has got to be a frustrating game for BYUN. ZEST, however, is going to be completely happy with himself, because even though he was delayed for such a long time getting that third base up, I mean, his opponent is sitting on 27 army supply. And while he does finally have his third base, he just doesn't have a lot of production. He's only just now, at 7 minutes in the game, getting those additional racks and gonna be starting stim soon. With full map control as well, because of that, there is a little bit of timer for these Stalkers. Ooh, has to be careful right there. But again, like, ZEST is just feeling completely happy. A little bit of a lull in the action as we have the roving death squad of Stalkers just looking for any unit that strays a little bit too far from the fold. You know, one thing I can say is that if ZEST doesn't get any more damage in, then BYUN will be able to catch up a bit quickly now. You can kind of see his army supply going heavy up. Gets a kill on the supply depot, but definitely not worth losing that Stalker for. As we do see some big warp-ins coming in, additional gateways being dropped. I think ZEST is going to be looking for a killing blow here. Beautiful swarm drop going down. 20 workers have fallen. Now that is going to prompt BYUN to say, I've had enough. I need to fight right now. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to pull the boys and just go for one big ditch effort. As while this army is pretty scary, there is enough back at home for ZEST. There are no ghosts. I guess you don't need them if they walk your High Templars into your army. That's the Dorito cannons going down. The siege tanks are getting cleaned up. Only 1 remains. And I think that BYUN has had enough. ZEST has taken the game, and he has taken the series.